call the meeting to order, and at this time, I'd like to have Magistrate Short of the invitation, please.
Can we get him a microphone? Julie?
I have to leave at 10, by the way, because we have a tax sale.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ronnie, please.
Okay. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for watching over us, God. We pray for our country today, God, the turmoil that we're in. But you know, you're in control of all things, our lives, our country, whatever. You're in control of it. So we praise your name for that today, and we pray that you will bless those that's in our court that's sick today. May your hand be upon them, we pray, and heal them today. Bless this day, bless this court today, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Judge Pro Tem, should we record that you are the Judge Pro Tem today?
Thank
For the
you.
record?
Thank you, Magistrate Tom. Next, I need a motion. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll go to Jackie now to approve the bills.
Okay, bills to be paid, we have $439,981.64. And the standing orders is $357,978.02.
Move we pay the bills as presented.
Motion been made to pay the bills as presented. I hear a second.
Second it.
Second by Magistrate Short. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Okay, making budget transfers.
There are no budget transfers today, and we have one cash transfer for $100,000 to EMS operations.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the first reading.
I'll make a motion we approve the cash transfer as presented.
There wasn't any.
There was one cash transfer.
Or
no
one
budget
cash transfer, I'm sorry.
$100,000
Thank
to
you.
EMS.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. All right, moving right along. Next is the first reading of the ordinance number 92021. And Counselor, do you care to read that?
I don't think I can read the whole thing. It's just
I don't think so either. Just
Summary is ordinance changing the zone from agriculture to single-family residential for approximately 24.410 acres, more or less, of real property located at 3488 Old Houstonville Road in an unincorporated area of Fort County.
I know that if there are any questions, I believe.
Do you have any questions
Steve
about the
Hunter is
ordinance?
outside if we need to.
I think this was passed also by Danville City County Commission. Mr. Hunter. All right.
Hey. We're just doing the ordinance now.
we're doing the ordinance.
First reading of the ordinance
First
for
reading of the
Nick
ordinance.
Dunn's
Yes.
property, 3488 Old Houstonville Road. I gave a presentation last meeting. A zone change from ag to single family for 66 homes. You guys should have everything in a cookie cutter ordinance, I hope, and first reading.
I move we approve the first reading.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second to approve the first reading of the ordinance 920.21. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Steve, do we know when they might break ground?
Agree likewise. We're still in order here, sir.
He hasn't gotten the nose yet.
Now you can ask questions.
Yeah, so the process would be, obviously, the developer needs to get the zone change approved. And then he'd have to turn in preliminary plat, and then I think his indication was to start it in a phase of 23 lots, so it's really whenever the developer's comfortable with his financing, and, you know, he has to know that the property's been zoned, but then he's got to turn in the plat, which takes 14 days. and it's really his decision when he breaks ground. But I haven't heard, they got a lot of infrastructure to deal with, and they're trying to sell the old homestead that's next to the farm.
This is very good news, because in the marketing meeting at EDP this last Friday, the concern was housing and employees, and emphasis on housing.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and second.
It's been voted.
It's
Been
done been
voted
voted.
on.
Uh-huh.
Any negative? Motion carried.
Thank
Next,
you,
I
guys.
have the,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have the privilege of presenting a couple checks. One goes to the county attorney for $794.15. And can I read the letter that went out to the judge, or should go to the judge, from Chair of the CAECO Unemployment Insurance. It says, "Dear member," are you ready? You with me on this? "Dear member, I am pleased to announce that the Board of Directors of the CAECO Unemployment Compensation Health Insurance Fund, called UI, has voted to return 100% of 1 full year of prior year's premiums as a way to show our appreciation for your continued participation in the program. The governor's decision to use federal COVID-19 relief dollars to underwrite the cost of unemployment insurance payments made by employers during the pandemic is a big part of why we are able to make this offer. We are grateful for this relief to employers, which really helped us because we didn't cost us anything this past year. The governor's decision. Additionally, your CAECO UI board, made up of elected county officials from across Kentucky, has consistently managed your funds in a cost-effective manner. We now have sufficient members' equity reserves to pay claims and envision no premium increase in the near future, I'm proud to say. Earlier this year, the CAECO UI board also voted to lower rates for all of our members. This is an example of how our member-led program continues to be county-centered with its decisions. The CAECO UI Fund is just one of the valuable services we provide to counties. CAECO is your association, and we are here to serve you in whatever way we may need. Please don't hesitate to reach out to our team of professionals who stand ready each day to serve counties and many county members who participate in our program. Sincerely yours, Bill Sammons.
Thank you.
And I'm presenting that check to the county attorney, and I have a check for $8,093.35. Well, I was going to present to the judge, not here, but we'll turn it over to the treasurer, okay? And this letter, copy of the letter goes with it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm proud to serve on that board as chair, and before you realize it or not, I can be a lot of help to our county. Okay, Mr. Wood, Jailer Wofford, he's ready. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, I've got to brag on my jailer. My jailer, everybody's jailer. He's a good one. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Good morning. I'm here today to request the fiscal court's approval to renew the service agreement with New Vista. They are the ones that's providing our mental health at the detention center. The county attorney's had time to look over the contracts, and all the changes have been made, and so this is the final copy.
Okay,
Move, accepted.
motion been made and approved.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Tom.
Tom? Jamie seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Do you mind if I give you some updates on some numbers?
No, sir,
while I'm
we'd be
here?
happy to.
So right now, this morning, we're at 226, which we're down a little bit, which is good. Simpson County took 4 of our state inmates out. We took them last night. He's short-staffed like everybody else. He said he would take them if we would bring them to him, so we took 4 down to him. Right now, Boyle County has 76. I have 144 state, and Mercer County's 43. I have 7 inmates positive, and I have 90 inmates on quarantine. I have 1 employee positive, and I have 1 employee that's out that was exposed through, she takes care of her brother, and so I have 2 employees out now, and I'm down 7 on my normal staffing. But, the biggest fear is when I run out of healthy cells, when all my cells are on quarantine, the issue's gonna come in. I cannot put a healthy person into that cell. So at that point, I will have to shut the jail down to new intakes, and I don't know where law enforcement's gonna take them. Everybody's in the same position we are. We've sent a letter to the Department of Corrections requesting them to come and take some of their state inmates out, which would give us more room so we could kind of organize and create more space for healthy folks coming in that is not COVID positive. So that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I know last Friday, I talked to the jailer and staff, and we were trying to work some things out, at least for the weekend, to get us through. I don't know if that did help.
It's helping, and Chris has been a big help with us, especially working with law enforcement. One of the things, too, we may need to look at, and you probably have to bring it up to judges, we may have to suspend our weekends, those serving weekends, until we can get back in front of this. That would give us some sales, those smaller sales when people come in, that if they're only going to be there a day or so, it keeps us from having to put them in a general pop cell with quarantine, that's quarantined.
I haven't been offering that for a while because of COVID going in and out,
And then they also, of course, I had to miss last week. We had a company come with the ankle monitor. Basically, I think it would cost us like $5.50 or $5.50 a day versus the $66 a day it costs to house them. So, Chris, what did you think on, how did you feel about it?
Right, yes. At the joint jail meeting last week, a guy gave a presentation, and I think he's based out of Jacksonville, Florida,
I think so.
somewhere like that. But he can offer the home incarceration, the leg band or whatever that goes around for really cheap. But I think there's some other costs associated with that, like if you want them to monitor versus him training our people how to monitor. So, but it still seemed pretty like a reasonable cost. And I think that, I mean, we do use another company as well here locally, so I don't know if they'll, maybe want to bid it out or whatever.
I think the initial cost is $350 a day. It doesn't cost to put it on. We could do that at the jail, or we could actually do it in the courtroom with Todd, or we can remove them either way. And then, depending on what level of monitoring service you get, it goes up like $1.50, something in there. But let's say if it cost us $8, and I'm just pulling that number out, that's still cheaper than $66 a day. Because that's what that's not including the incidentals. That doesn't include medical. I just had to buy a prosthetic limb for a state inmate. That was $8,000. I had another inmate that state that, well, thank goodness we got him moved, because the last time it cost me $8,000 just for his medication, and and that's every month. So if you add those costs in compared to, if they're a nonviolent, low-level criminal, and you put them on an ankle monitor, if I paid for it out of my budget, it would still save the county probably. Well, if you use 50, that's $800,000 roughly a year. If we just had 50 on it, what it would save us.
I think it would be a good thing. I mean, my only concern, for some of the people that like drug issues, possessions, and so forth. Yes, they get to stay at home, but their people could bring their drugs to them. There's not a way to monitor. I mean, yes, you can have them go for drug screens. But other than that, they're at home and they could be using their drugs there. So, I mean, that's something else to think about.
Well, I brought this up about a year and a half ago. You and I talked about it, We actually got education on this at, I think it was the February conference right before everything kind of got shut down in Lexington. Other jails are using this in the state. And so there was a young lady that gave a presentation about it and recommended, I think Oldham County uses it. So I can't remember her name. I think I gave you her name before. I would reach out to her to see what other areas, instead of reinventing the wheel. But this was about the cost of it. Was about $5 a day. So.
Well, and I agree with what our county attorney's saying. But even if you put somebody on a $5,000 bond and they're released, that's still not gonna stop them from abusing whatever substance they choose.
What I'd like to see is, you know, we talked in a sheriff's committee meeting this morning, it sounds like they're dismissing things because they're worried about holding them when they shouldn't be dismissed. If we have something like this, we can hold them or at least monitor them. And, there was a big issue where someone was released, dismissed, you know, and they were wanted out of Georgia for several bad things. And now we don't know where they are. So,
Shootings, we're talking serious shootings.
and so stuff like this could actually, you know, not have to worry about overcrowding the jail or whatever and stop just dismissing things, especially big crimes like this. So, I pursue it, please.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Are these, I'm just wondering, how hard are they for the inmate to cut them off?
Well, they could cut them off. You know,
No
they're
problem.
not a, of course, I wasn't there in the presentation. I had to miss last week. But, you know, they're the same as the others. Anybody, they can cut them off. If they want to escape, they're going to escape. But most folks that live here, I think that would be a small percentage. Because you're talking people that are in on shoplifting and, you know, maybe possession charges, or they're not going to go to another state. They don't have the, you know, the money or the resources to do
If
that.
it gets cut off, they get notified right away.
Yeah, if it gets cut, it automatically notifies
Yeah.
the senator that monitors, and they let us know, and then, you know, the sheriff can go pick them up because they violated the conditions.
Yeah, okay.
Chris, does that
Thank you.
increase their offense if they cut it off?
Oh, yeah.
An escape charge.
Another charge.
Good.
Thank you all.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Send
you.
Mike in. Mike Rogers.
Oh, no,
Vice.
Mike had to go, John and I are gonna handle.
Okay. Consider a new transmission for the EC5.
You got this, sir?
In your packet, yes, the transmission went out. Mike communicated to probably both of us, he called me, it's not true, because he.
Thank you, Julie.
And it was an emergency situation because they've got to keep those trucks rolling, so the judge and Mike worked it out to where an emergency, notification was put together, and so it's going on, as we speak. So we're trying to get back on the road. And just for your own notification, the repair budget figure, he has used in the first 2 months about 50% of it. So, keeping these units up is expensive, but you don't have any other choice. We've got to keep them going in order to provide the service that we talk about, and they provide an excellent service and do a great job, but we've got to give them the tools to work with.
That's
All
right.
the more reason why we need to stay on schedule with getting them their trucks when they need them, instead of just repairing these. I mean, like we talked about last time, all of these are over 150,000 miles road time, and like John brought up, that doesn't even account for engine time. So, we really need to stay on task and budget accordingly to make sure they're getting the buses when they need them.
I assume that sitting idling is probably harder than actually running, aren't you, or not?
Well,
Would they be?
It would be, and you don't really know how many hours that accumulates to be, but it's still
Yeah.
wear and tear on the motor, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a figure we really haven't kept up with, and had a discussion about. That's probably the most important figure opposed to mileage.
Yeah. Let's see,
They need to put an hour meter on them anyway.
That's what?
An hour meter on them, cause, I mean, they're sitting all the time running, just like our sheriff's cars. I mean, we'll come in here and they'll be in here for an hour, and they're sitting there running.
Will they do that with the dog in the car, or is just?
I haven't seen nobody in the car, or nothing, dog or nothing, they're sitting out there running,
We're wasting
so.
county gas on.
So I don't know.
Who's on the sheriff committee? Y'all are?
We are.
I have, and this is not on the agenda, but I want to throw it out. I've had some people ask me, why aren't the sheriff's vehicles, how come they don't have a logo on them? You have pickup trucks that's out there that we bought new trucks that are running up and down the highway.
Yes, just a couple that don't have the logos. Others are more for the fact that they're trying to take care of the drug problem we have in the county, and, you know, you don't just blare out there that you're a sheriff's deputy behind somebody's car or whatever. You want to kind of get the element of surprise on them. So there are a couple that do not, and then, I mean, it's an unmarked police car, so just to kind of.
Trucks, there's a couple trucks aren't marked either. Is that what you're talking about?
The trucks there's, I think, 2 trucks that aren't marked. Mostly everything else is marked.
Yeah.
I think the trucks that transport the canines are not marked.
Right.
Yeah.
If people driving properly, it doesn't matter whether they're unmarked or not, you know, if the citizens
Well,
are
the-
doing what they're supposed to be doing.
If they got a,
Well,
look like to me they got a canine.
that's another story.
Car-
Okay, we'd like to
say
call on
legit
Bill
shot
Nichols
canine.
now. Bill, you handy? Tom, you get Bill?
Bill?
There he comes.
I got him.
Okay, Bill, you're up, man. Thank you.
Thank you all for taking time to see me. Just kind of wanted to give you an update of where we were with the new fiscal year with some IT things and to ask for permission to do a couple of things. You should have gotten some papers in your packet that talk about our new email solution. The ones that we've been looking at are Google Workspace and Microsoft Office 365. These masks are off. It's kind of up to you on whatever we want to do. This is a fiscal court decision. Right now, I guess I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards the Google Workspace simply because of the cost. It's a lot cheaper, and it does allow for each individual user to have up to 5 terabytes of space that they can share among the company as well. The nice thing about the Microsoft Office is it does have the SharePoint server, which is kind of like an internal server for the county. However, I think with our new website that's coming, we will have a back end that will be a good place to hold documents and things for the county and for employees and things like that. So the SharePoint isn't that big of a feature on this one. So anyway, I guess what I'm looking for is I'd like permission to go ahead, or a motion to go ahead and move forward with, my recommendation would be the Google Workspace to move forward in moving our email solution to that platform.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made and second to go with the Google Workspace. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have 2 servers that we're trying to replace at this point. The jail server, which you all heard about last week. Currently on the jail server, I'm waiting on one more processor. With COVID-19, parts and computers have been difficult to get a hold of. This HP server was the one I could get in the quickest, but unfortunately one of the parts isn't here yet, so we're waiting on that to get that started. The courthouse server is mostly here. I lost a drive in setting it up. I've got a new drive on the way, and hopefully that will get set up pretty quickly. One of the things that I had to do with that server is I've got to get off of the old Exchange server on our old server before I can move over to the new server. So that's one of the reasons why I want to go ahead with the email platform. Another thing that I've been working on is the new website. You should have gotten some papers, and unfortunately it looks like you got them in black and white. The colors are a dark blue, white, green, and a tan. I really like the color palette that they're using, and we should be moving forward here to, I think the projected launch date at this point is January of 2022. One of the things that I've wanted to do since I've got here is to go to a .gov domain. I think that would be important for us. I think it makes us more credible, and definitely, I mean, even if you go through the schools' cybersecurity programs, they tell you that, you know, they don't let them go to anything but .gov for the most part because it's a credible domain. We sent a letter in to try to get BoyleKY.gov. Unfortunately, their naming conventions require us to say county in our domain name. And since we are the only Boyle County in the entire United States, I would like to submit a letter to try to get BoyleCounty.gov as
On
our...
that issue, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At the bottom of the page, a lot of folks, as we are the only one out of 50 states, I like the one you think that we could get immediately, and that is Boyle County KY.gov, because then when people from Spokane, Washington see it, they're gonna know who we are, as opposed to the one that you believe you can get through. If you're certain you can get the KY in there, I would like to recommend, I'd like to make a motion that it be, so that it further identifies it.
I'm good either way. This is,
That's a good idea.
And direct one to the other?
I can certainly check on that, but right now with the domains with the .gov they have suspended fees for the moment. We should certainly try that. But as far as our main website, I'm good with either, and that's why I suggested both. I just know that in their naming conventions, they do require, since we are a county municipality, as they call it, we do have to have county in the name somewhere.
So you made that as
That
a motion.
includes going and getting both.
Yeah, I will amend my motion to include both with a priority on the KY.
That would be our main domain, and then should somebody just type Boyle County, what would happen is it would automatically get directed to BoyleCountyKY.com.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, .gov.
Motion been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Great idea.
opposed
Thank you.
likewise.
That's all I have for you,
Okay.
gentlemen. Are there any questions for me and
Thank you.
where we stand?
Thank you, Bill.
These pictures
Yes, sir.
on why are they part of this? Is this picture gonna be used? on the
Basically,
website?
what this was, what the company did for me is I sent them some of the pictures that you saw below there, and they came up with a color palette or a mood for the website. And I can send that document to you. I have it in a PDF that's in color so that you can see it. I guess, let's see, I don't know if you can look at my phone, but there's the color palette that we have in mind for the new website, which is basically the background colors and those sort of things.
Is it
Well,
matched
I
to
didn't
Bill?
know if you
Yeah.
was looking for ideas for pictures to be used in the website.
I've got several that I've started with, and I've talked to Brad Simmons,
Okay.
who I've gotten a few pictures from, but I think one of the things that we would like to do is probably have a section on the website where we invite the county residents and the people of the county to submit pictures to use on the website. I just think that would be a good thing to do and get them involved as well.
Well, I came up with just, I jotted down just a couple of things I thought that maybe somewhere if it would fit in. I thought something from indicating that Harrington Lake is here, and Millennium Park,
Absolutely.
and Farmers Market, may have some
Variable
appeal.
battlefield.
Oh, absolutely.
community
I
center.
didn't, Bill, it's up to you, use them. I was just thinking out loud and wanted to share that thought with you.
One of the things that I feel, besides being a little bit dated on our website, is it doesn't show near what this county has to offer.
Well, and
And-
I think the park and the lake
Absolutely.
is important.
I totally
As
agree
part
with that.
of it.
And that's one of the things that as we develop, the one thing about a website that I've always said, the website is a living creature. It is ever changing, and it's got to be, or you're going to lose people. So, as we come up with things, even after it's launched, we can work them in, get them in there, and make it so that people come back and visit us more
But
often.
it helps tell our story, and I think that's what it's all about,
Right.
is telling the story. So those, whatever we can come up with that we think tells our story.
Yeah, I think you can use seasonal photos and
Absolutely.
everything, so you can change it with the seasons as well.
Can you also work with Michael Hughes? He has an extensive amount of pictures, especially for the black community.
Oh, absolutely. If
Yeah,
you have his
please.
contact information, I'd be happy to get a hold of him.
I can get you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The airport's another important
Right.
part of our community.
Yeah, that's one that unless you're out there a lot, you don't realize what comes and goes from there.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question for you on policy.
Yes, sir.
If an employee leaves, and they have, computers, cell phones, or whatever, do you generally wipe those things right away, or do you work with the judge on those things and ask, or how does the stuff that's on those items get taken care of or preserved or whatever?
Typically, it depends on the circumstances, obviously, but most of the stuff gets turned into me, and then I ask if there's anything that they need off of this or want off of this, and then at that point, once we've gotten everything that we need off of the device, I wipe it.
Well, he's gonna, if you have a crooked employee, I assume he's gonna transfer anything he wants off before he gets to you.
More than likely, that would be
More
the
likely.
case, yes.
There's a lot of times you can still
Yeah.
get stuff off even if it's been deleted. I just want to make sure
Really?
that
Yeah.
we've had some instances lately where we may need to
Understand.
preserve stuff a little bit longer than what we did.
They have, I was looking into it actually last night, because a lot of our products are Apple products, and they do have a Apple Business Management solution. The only thing I don't like about the Apple Business Management solution is you lose a lot of the features of the Apple product, but those features may not be important in a county business situation. But on the upside of that, it gives us control of all the items from one login.
Given that we are all responsible for what happens here. I think
Exactly.
that's probably the better way to go to make sure that we're all protected and the county's protected.
It might, and we can even push out, I mean, if there's certain apps that we want everybody to have, we can push those out to those apps, the Apple products. As far as the Samsung, I have not looked at, or not Samsung necessarily, Android, I have not looked into the possibility of having a business type account to manage all those products, but I was certainly, that'll be part of the process as well.
Okay, cool, perfect. Thank you.
Bill, thank you for the great job that you do, and
Thank you, sir.
taking care of the county like you have. You brought us a long way in you've been here 5 years now, haven't you?
Be 6 years in January, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you
Feels
so
like an
much.
eternity.
It does, but it's,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be anyplace else. I mean, this is my home and I love it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill.
Sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I should have thrown this thought out here. Going back to the emergency, the transmission
I
for,
think it'll
Yes,
be
sir.
okay.
the emergency for EMS.
Right.
Let me
Should
see
we
if it's
vote
still
this?
on.
For the record, should we vote that we accept what we're doing?
I think
this
it'd be,
emergency letter?
I think it'd be a
Just
good
for the
idea.
record, in case it was ever brought up down the road.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Or we
Appreciate you bringing it up.
Well,
Still got it.
by voting, we're
It should be okay.
acknowledging that we've seen it and we agree with it and it protects the judge.
You ready to run down to
Okay,
me?
so
thank
you make that
Yes,
motion,
sir, I do.
and you on the committee, you
I'll
second it.
second it, yes, sir.
Everybody understand what we're doing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're doing it more or less just for the record, I
Yes, sir.
presume, right?
Thank you.
All opposed likewise, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Magistrate K. Wood. Now I'd like to turn to our, and she's already in here, Miss Angie Muncy, Environmental Services Coordinator.
How is everybody?
Good, how are you?
Good. Real good. All right, we have our, matter of fact, just got it, our, litter abatement agreement for 2022. Just basically, just need a motion and Judge will sign off when he comes back.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Judge will sign it when he gets back, or someone will.
You already seen
Thank
that.
you.
I'll give you one anyway. Going to talk, I've been working on some promotional items and promotional things for recycling and solid waste. And everybody knows that we do use Lamar for, I'll give you one, Jackie, just in case.
Thank you.
So, I've been doing some education, we get money through, Republic to do education, so I started off this week doing our first annual Recycling Awareness Week, and actually I had 18 people yesterday.
It's
So I
good.
was very excited because usually you have that stuff and, no one shows up, to look, you just have it. So we had about 18 show up yesterday, so we was able to tour everything and let everybody see what we were doing and all that good stuff. We've had refreshments, and I think Phil and Ronnie got to enjoy the refreshments yesterday morning, so.
They
It
were
was
real
good.
good. I don't know where you got them, but they were delicious.
This usually Lamar, we used to be in November, we'd have it out here at the viaduct out here and one on like 150. But this is a new digital sign that is actually, sits in Lincoln where you can see the Boyle County line coming to Boyle County. It's a digital one, and this is the new theme that I went with the jingle, and then I come up with the billboard. That'll be displayed starting August 30th and run through September. So I think it looks awesome, I love it.
Is this
And
thing lit up at night? Got a
It's
light on
digital,
it?
so it should.
It's got a light on the side right there.
Yeah, so I think it'll look, I
Yes,
think
it
it'll
is.
look
I
really,
see it
really
now.
neat, and
Can you perform the jingle for us?
I'm gonna play it for you. I'm not
Okay,
gonna, I don't think you'd want me to sing because then it just wouldn't, it wouldn't.
Would
be
you
good.
care to play it for us?
That's what I am
Me
going
and
to
Phil
do.
can sing it for you.
I think you'll love it. I've worked with the radio station. I met these American Music Concepts. I met them through Julie's husband, Robert, out at the radio station. Yous are the first to want to hear it. I'm going to bring it out on Thursday on the radio station. So they're going to start today sort of putting the music, the background to it, and then we're going to put out the full jingle.
So this is the world
Right.
premiere.
It's going to be a Boyle County premiere. Bigger times. But it's very catchy.
You say very tacky or very catchy?
Oh,
Well, now, Bill,
I liked it. Go ahead.
the judges heard it.
Is that why he's at home sick?
It's all right, Bill, I'm gonna get you.
Boyle County's our home, so let's keep it clean. Come on, Boyle County, reduce, reuse, recycle. Let's work together to keep our county beautiful. Load your car and trailer up, pick up a truck. Our recycling center will sort your stuff. Don't just throw it away when you can recycle it today. Boyle County's our home, so let's keep it clean.
Thank you. I thought they done an awesome job.
Yeah.
There's different, that's the main jingle. There's music before and after, so if I want to, if something special's going on, we can talk in between it and then, it'll play and everything, so. But I'm very proud of it. I think it sounds good. I think the billboard will look good and
I think we could have a fiscal court karaoke night.
who's gonna participate? That's not gonna be me. I'll just be there to clear the room in case it needs to go, because I can't carry a tune in a bucket, so. But I just wanted to share that and hope y'all enjoy it, like it, and
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Muncy on the sign? I think that's pretty neat.
well done.
Well done.
but that's our new promotional stuff, okay? And then the only other thing I need to discuss, is back budget time, I had asked for a, pickup we needed for recycling. We're having to borrow one from Dwayne when he's not using it, and we just have so many stops. If, Marty's out with inmates, or Marty and Daryl's out picking up litter, that leaves me short a truck. And, we're servicing Dana, Transnav, and, all these other businesses that we have like 22 trailers out in different places, plus the industries that we have to go out and get. So,
A lot of stops.
we agreed to it, but Keegan, didn't put in the budget based on the fact, I think we were hoping the Malibu could be like a trade-in value or something like that, and he's not here, it's not in the budget, and I need a truck.
Well,
But I'd like to have, Dwayne got these bidded from, Bob Allen and Stuart Powell, and he said he would, that Bob Allen would,
Honor
support
him.
these.
truck.
And there's, we can get one, like, Dwayne was gonna get for the 27.6. I
And
still
we
have
get,
the paperwork from.
we can get I assume that you're talking about, since he's already got this bid out, we can get a truck on this same order, since I
Yes.
think we're allowed to buy, what, 5 trucks?
I think he says as many as we really wanted, but I know Dwayne mentioned like up to 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
that he
Well, I
would.
do think we need to check the budget
Yeah.
before we jump at this. I mean, I think this needs to be looked into, because, you know, it may need to be something that we just have to do as we are
Well,
doing.
now,
and
the
get next
recycling,
budget
I'm gonna brag again here, Jamie, so look out.
Okay,
But now, we have taken in almost $80,000 already this year in recycling.
that's awesome.
We have really, the prices went up, and of course, I can only give my workers credit. You know, they're pretty awesome and they work hard, so.
Absolutely.
But now, they have done awesome, and we've taken in roughly almost 80 already this year.
Well, I wrote a check for 8,000, so that just leaves,
Woo-hoo!
that just leaves 19.
How much is the truck, Angie? This is the first we heard of it,
What is
so.
that?
No, this is the one that Dwayne had.
Okay,
This is
can we
the-
see what we're looking for?
Yeah, these
here?
are the bids that he had gotten
Yeah. How much
for,
is it?
because he had the Bob Allen and had,
This was in the packet last month.
yeah.
So is this what we're looking?
No, this is Stuart Powell's bid, and this was Bob Allen's bid.
So we're looking for 28,000.
You wanna keep that? You don't have to dig it out?
Well, we're also, they definitely,
I got a copy from Dwayne,
Okay.
so.
we could possibly get this cheaper, went to go to a 2-door instead of a 4-door.
Okay.
And it could be what we budgeted before, 25,000 or
Okay.
less. But the committee, we met the other day and we agreed to go ahead and try to get this budgeted. So I'll make a motion that we, if it's in the budget, to go ahead and do this.
We did discuss it.
Yeah, we discussed it and we passed it.
I
not
thought
the
you were
committee,
getting
but
one.
In the fiscal court, we discussed it
Yeah.
when we found out what a good price was that, and I think we said that solid waste, needed one, or environmental services needed one. So we kind of brought it up and
Okay.
talked about it a little bit.
We also agreed to do it.
Did we? Okay. Can I ask you
It
one
was agreed,
question?
But there was something there that
I think it was,
Ryan was getting it, Joe
Yeah.
was getting this, and somebody was gonna drive the Malibu, and the Malibu was gonna be used for it just went a big
I think it
circle.
really went back to the budget question though.
So do you think the budget doesn't have anything at all in there for your department to get a vehicle?
I don't think it does, not what
Okay.
I've seen.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's the.
But
that's
I'm
the
not
only
gonna
thing that I'm
say
saying is I
a
think-
hard no, Julie. I just
okay,
haven't.
okay. Well,
In favor of the need,
We need to check it.
where does the 80,000
Yeah.
with this wonderful fit in where you might have projected an amount that you would have versus what we have in the budget, because that's almost 3 trucks.
Well, it just, luckily recycling has went up and we're getting more, I've had to change a lot.
Essentially, I'm saying, is this
I think-
found money compared to the budget?
I think what Tom's asking is, what did you have in your budget? What was the projection?
I
Am
just
I
asked for
correct,
like
Tom?
25,000. I asked for just a used
No,
one.
no, no,
revenue,
No.
revenue.
What was your
The
projected revenue?
Revenue.
What was your projected
From
I
revenue?
didn't have any.
Okay.
I don't know,
That's
I don't
what I'm
know
saying.
what was put in
That's
there.
why I'm
Okay.
calling it
Well,
found
this is
money.
a new
So this is
budget.
new money.
This is a new budget, though.
New money.
So do you know,
We was always in the
There was
red.
approximately 39,000 taken in probably before July 1.
okay,
I'll second Ronnie's motion.
And probably, right now, we're looking at right now, probably 40-some thousand has been taken in since July.
Jamie, I'd like to hear more from you on waiting.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm good with Ronnie's motion as well, and
Mhm.
contingent upon it being
Oh, that's
within
fine.
the budget.
But I just, I'm
Within
in
the
need.
budget
We're
process.
just, we're bombing and, I don't wanna let our guard down while recycling prices are up
Right.
here. And we got all these people, recycling going, because then the revenue shoots back down when we can't.
can,
Well,
Can
Trucks
you-
are not gonna get cheaper. folks.
can you get
Okay.
us?
And you
can
gotta realize another thing too, these places that we're picking this stuff up, if we can't get there, they're gonna get somebody else to pick this up.
Yeah.
So, I
It's
mean,
gonna put in the trash,
either way, I mean, you could lose money, but not
So-
getting a truck.
Mhm.
I'll go back to my, well, not my dilemma anymore, but you guys have lost a lot from just my businesses, or my old businesses, because Republic came in and just took, we had a dedicated recycling bin over at the hub behind Ponder, and we had milk jugs in there, cardboard, all this stuff, and every Friday morning, Republic comes in, just dumps it up, takes it all. I don't know if you Do you have any contacts with Republic? Because I'm worried about that happening elsewhere.
I've already talked to them.
Yeah.
I discussed
I mean,
that
it just
with them,
happened
so,
again,
Yeah.
what is it, today, late last Friday, we had a bunch of milk jugs in there, so.
But now, we did get some the other day from there.
Yeah, oh, I know. Well, I have my employee, well, not my employees anymore. I have the staff putting the milk jugs to the side now, not in the
Okay.
trash cans.
Okay,
We'll have to get
Okay.
some separate.
Can I?
we have,
Real quick, could we get you to get us an actual bid, either like for 2-door, 4-door, so we have what
Well,
it would actually be right now?
you can't, I'm gonna interrupt you there. If we go to a different type vehicle, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll have to rebid it, will we not?
Probably so,
I
yeah,
think we should.
yeah.
Probably.
Even,
Even with Bob Allen.
I think this bid was specifically for Public
Ford.
Works.
Yeah, and
He
it was
said that we
for-
could get multiple, but I think the right thing to do without getting our hands slapped is to go through another bid process.
If you do, it's gonna take us, how long is it gonna take us to get this truck? It's gonna take a long while. When you go through the bid stuff
Well,
again,
that's already under $30,000,
Have
so
to go
we're gonna
through.
have to, well, not if we get that spec right there, we
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, do you want this, is this what you want?
It would be fine, Julie,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
I don't
We
have
can-
a
You don't
problem
really
with
care
that.
what
Okay.
she gets as long as she
It's
gets
a
the
truck,
truck.
it can pull the
Okay.
trailers, you know, I'm
Well,
good.
I know where you're coming from, because Ronnie had mentioned getting a two-door,
Yeah.
and that kind of starts changing things.
it would
around,
be
so.
probably, what do you think, $2,500, $3,000 cheaper, maybe more?
I don't even know, that's a pretty good price.
you don't know till you get it in writing, so.
It's whatever you
The only
think.
thing I hate, you hate to, you know, spend all that money for advertising
Mhm.
and that like that, when it's gonna probably make up that difference anyway.
Understand.
That's
I
my
don't-
opinion.
I don't, like John, I don't wanna get in trouble, so I don't wanna, well, so how about this, how about we have Chris take a look into it, see, I mean, they've authorized us to buy up to 5 of them. If we need to rebid this or
Okay.
not, let us know.
If we're getting that same truck, same type truck that's already been approved, I don't think we'd have to rebid it with.
I guess I would like to see what the original bid, like what it said.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Julie's got it there.
Yeah.
How specific it was.
She's got it, you've got it right there.
We've got it right here.
Our bid
is
documents,
the
our
paperwork?
bid documents, no. No, I don't have our bid documents. I'll have to get that from Dwayne. But you voted to authorize us to find a truck in the budget for Angie. And we can work out the specifics about whether we bid it or we can go with this.
Okay, that
But
sounds
you're
good.
voting, I just wanna
Specify four-door,
understand,
two-door.
That's that contingency. fund.
you're voting to find the money for Angie a truck, is that right?
And it may be sitting on the lot right now.
Okay.
being expedited.
I just wanna make sure we're clear that we need to find the
We need to
money.
find
Well,
the money.
the way I
We
Around
looked at
this
used ones, and I
price.
think used
Okay.
ones were like $44,000,
Yeah.
and then you got a
I
I
brand
just wanna make
new
sure we're doing the right thing.
2022 for
The motion-
27,
Good
so.
truck.
Let's have a little order, please.
Okay,
The way I understand the motion and the second is the fact that, let's get the truck if we've
If
got
we
the
can find
money,
the
if we
money.
can find the money in
Okay.
the budget. Am I correct?
yes,
Agreed.
that's what I thought you
Agreed.
said.
Everybody
Okay.
agreed to that?
Great.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a
Vote.
vote. Raise your right hand. Let's go for a hand vote, if you approve this. Okay?
I have questions, because if we say we're getting 2 trucks,
We're getting one truck.
but
for
we're buying
solid
2 trucks
waste.
from Bob Allen, so if Stuart Powell knew that we were looking for 2 trucks, they may have offered us a better deal. I think
Well-
we're getting into muddy water here, whether or not we're
Well,
approved.
not really, because this,
Just gave up to 5.
that's right. It's already been
Is that what
approved.
the bid said? You
Yes.
don't even know what the bid said.
I don't think the bid said that.
No, the
Yeah,
bid
I'll
didn't
have to
say up
get
to
it
5
from
trucks.
Dwayne.
Bob Allen said we
Yeah.
could buy up to 5 at this. So we're in jeopardy of really getting in trouble here by buying something without going through the bid process.
Yeah,
And I don't wanna hold you up at all, but I wanna make sure that,
We could probably do a bid
Doesn't prove
process
doesn't get in
in
trouble.
2 weeks.
I don't really think Stuart Powell's gonna come down on these trucks.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
This is the price he made too, he's gonna make the same price on the third.
they may not,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
more along the lines of did we follow the rules that we're supposed to follow?
How about if we
It-
leave
it's-
it, it's not only if we can find the money, but if
We done made a
if
motion.
correctly.
Motion's
We
already
done
been
passed it.
made, and we've got one negative, so we'll move right along. She's gonna find out. Okay?
Chris is checking the legality.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I just need to see the.
You need to see the
I think
bid.
that's where she might be.
Yeah, she,
I would hold off on the vote until we see the bid and get council.
It's done been voted on. It's done been passed. How can you hold off on a bid when it's done been passed?
No, I said hold off on the vote. He didn't say all those opposed.
Yes,
He just
I
asked-
did.
Yes, he
asked for a-
did.
He asked for a hand vote.
Yes, he did.
He did.
We had,
I'm just trying to keep us out of trouble, Ronnie. I mean, you wanna go off
we had 5 to
and
1.
do stuff that's gonna get us in trouble, have at it.
Maybe, maybe not. You don't know that.
I know, that's why I'm asking our attorney.
I need to see the bid.
Yeah, he can't make a judgment on it. We shouldn't be voting on it if he can't make a judgment on it.
Y'all upset him, he's gonna leave.
You got
He's out here in 6 minutes anyway.
There's, do you see anything wrong with it, Counselor? What we just did,
I don't think it's in that packet.
it's not in the packet.
No,
I mean, it just depends, I mean, I need to see the bid, original, I mean, not the bid, but the original.
Bid
what she
request.
Advertised, what the bid for, then I could advise.
Yeah, we have to.
That's what
Mr.
she's looking
Chairman?
for right now. Yes, sir.
No, I'm looking
Under
for,
parliamentary procedure, we do have the right to go back. I would like to, not formalize the motion yet, but what I'd like to do is rescind the vote, go back with the understanding that a new, motion would be contingent on the budget situation and the bid process allowing this.
I think we already had that, Magistrate.
We don't.
We had
have
it
those
on the
two
money.
things in there. We only have the budget review. We didn't have it
yeah,
contingent
I
on
need to, I
legality.
need to see the bid document. It's not,
I'd say,
Yeah.
so, like,
When
since
you
they
say
should have
contingent,
that, wouldn't you?
yeah, okay, let me do this.
The budget situation,
Contingent on
define-
the budget
could you
situation
define that?
and the legal aspect.
how you gonna determine it on the budget situation? I don't understand the term situation
To me,
that you're using.
it's a fait accompli that we've got $80,000 of found money, and I think that's how we would look at it from the budget standpoint. But the more important aspect of redoing it would be to add that legal review show that it need not be bid a second time. So I would make a motion that we rescind the initial vote with the intent of moving forward to a more clear vote.
Is there something for the finance committee to take a look at?
We can.
To determine the budget situation, which I'm
Reach out to Dwayne and
still
say,
not real clear on what that is.
Right.
Well, you're putting it off another 2 weeks, but, whichever what you
Dwayne
wanna
will
do.
know.
That's why I think she should just reach out to Dwayne real quick to have him forward us the original bid, so council can look at it. We can still table this and come back to it before the end of the meeting.
That's a good idea.
I just don't wanna do anything illegal. That's what it comes down to.
Well, we don't even.
okay, let's do it this way. We've done
Well, we had a motion.
We've done had a motion
We got a
to,
motion on the floor. Is there a second to his motion?
What's the motion again?
To clarify.
To rescind the vote.
we can do this a different way.
A motion dies for lack of support. Go ahead.
We done made a motion on if we got the money in the budget.
Right.
We could also amend just putting in contingent if we don't have to rebid this.
That's the essence of what I'm trying to get a second on.
Yeah, okay.
So let's make two motions. Let's make one, that we purchase the vehicle if it's in the budget. And then we make a second motion
Well, we
that,
already, excuse me, we already have that motion. That's already been passed.
but there's so many
That's why I
added to
say
it right
in
now. I think
parliamentary
really,
procedure, we have the right to rescind it.
You do have the right to rescind it,
I
But nobody
think
seconded
that-
the
I think we
motion.
clean it up is all I'm asking, sir.
okay?
We clean it up, we actually take Tom's thing, we rescind the original one, and then we go through and break it out. One, to pass if it's in the budget, or purchase if it's in the budget, and then two, to go ahead and purchase it if we don't have to rebid it. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, so you're making that motion to rescind it,
I'll make the motion to rescind.
I'll
and you second it. Everybody understand what he's doing?
Yes.
Because the intent is still to go for the truck.
Yes.
So let's
Okay.
vote on it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise.
Thank
Motion
you.
carried.
You wanna make the first motion, or To purchase?
Go right ahead.
Okay, make a motion, we go ahead and purchase the vehicle if we have the money in the budget.
Second.
Motion been made and second to go ahead and purchase the vehicle if we have the money in the budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you.
Second motion, we go ahead and purchase the vehicle if allowed, and we do not have to rebid the process.
Second.
And if we do, we rebid the process.
Yes.
A delay.
Thank you.
Okay, Dwayne just sent me a text. If we stay below 30,000, all we have to do is get quotes on the vehicles, which is a much quicker process. You don't have to advertise. So that would be so simple to do. So if we could add, if we do have to go that route, we get quotes from area dealers, and then we can make a decision
Good.
from there.
So-
It's much quicker.
So,
One more.
the way I look at it right now, the way it stands, according to Julie, Miss Julie, is the fact that if we can find the money in the budget,
Yeah.
we'll buy the truck. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that, you know, I heard the under $30,000, and I just, you know, if you can get, you don't have to get bids, you just get quotes.
Quotes,
I think
yeah.
that'd be all right. But, you know, you said up to 5 or whatever, I mean, I don't think, then that's gonna go over 30, so if you're just getting one, then it's under 30.
Yeah,
Unless they're
Yeah.
$15,000 piece.
it's much
Are,
quicker.
since they're separate budgets though, with this
For
is,
separate budgets.
Yes,
It'd be a
yes.
separate,
we're
Yes.
buying
Separate
two, the
department.
county's buying two visit.
there ain't even
One's
bought one.
coming out
Dwayne
of,
hasn't
well,
even
one's
bought
coming
one
out of
yet.
the,
But one's coming from Public Works and
Yeah.
one's
One's
coming
coming
from
solid
the
waste.
Environmental Services
Oh,
budget. So we're not buying two for environmental services.
Gotcha.
It's one and one.
that makes sense.
okay?
All right, as you say, moving on.
All right, Counselor.
I have to go to the
Did we?
All right, thank you.
tax.
Thank you for
Did
being with us.
Second motion?
No, not
We
yet.
made so many motions, I don't know why we even voting on
Who
anymore.
seconded that?
We're buying the truck. I don't want any more motions. Well, I think we're clear.
Okay.
If we can find the money in the budget, we're gonna buy the truck, correct?
We need to vote.
We did vote.
No, not on the second.
Yeah.
He gave two different motions.
Would you care to state your motion again?
Well, we've actually it's just been proven, but, my motion was to go ahead and make the purchase on the vehicle if we do not have to go through the rebidding process.
Well, she's already told us that.
Yeah,
So,
just
but
have to
it's
get
still a
quotes.
motion, he seconded it.
Okay.
So we go ahead and,
We
do
really don't need the motion, but all
you mean to rescind
in
it?
favor say
It'd be
aye.
good to have it.
Aye.
All
Okay.
opposed, motion carried.
Angie's getting
Thank
a
you.
truck.
Good to go.
Somehow Angie's getting a truck.
Thank you
Okay.
for all the confusion.
Thank you.
Angie?
Sorry
Thank
for
you,
all the
Angie.
confusion.
Only thing you didn't bring up is, you didn't state what color you wanted.
She get there.
Wildcat
Hey.
Blue.
As long as it ain't orange, I'm
Quick
good.
as you get
I
it,
agree with that.
the committee would like to come out and see it, if you don't mind. Call their chairman.
Thank your,
Thank you.
Saturday, everybody, my hazardous household waste event Saturday, document shred, hometown radio will be out there with hamburgers and hot dogs.
Angie, thank you and your
Thank-
staff for their hard work on the extra money.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to, Mr. Jamie Gay, Magistrate Jamie Gay,
All right.
Finance, Finance Chairperson.
So the Finance Committee met on 8/13 to discuss the setting our tax rates. It's that time of year to get that done. And the Department of Local Government, you should see in your packet, sent the information. Our current real property tax rate is 6.7. The formula that's used determines that our compensating rate would, because due to the fact that our assessed property values have gone from 1.82 billion to 1.9 billion and change, it our compensating rate would move to 6.6. The 4% increase would move to 6.8. And just so everybody understands, and I think most of y'all do, but it is a little bit of a complicating formula. The compensating rate is the inflation adjusted rate that the county can adopt that will generate the same amount of purchasing power in the prior year. And just to go over a little bit of the math there, if we take the compensating rate at 6.6, we would generate $1.264 million. If we take the 4% increase, we would generate $1.3 million. If we keep the rate the same at 6.7, it generates $1.283 million. So it's basically $19,000 over what the compensating rate would be if we keep it the same where it is now. And that ends up being just over $63,000. It's almost $64,000 over what last year's rate was. So I think where it gets confusing is the compensating rate. Even if you take the compensating rate, the dollars coming in are going up because of it's based on inflation. It includes the inflation number in there as well. So I worked on this a lot last night and went over it, and it is a complicated formula, I believe. But so anyway, all that said, the Finance Committee is recommending that we keep all of our rates the same as they were, and we've checked with the Department of Local Government. We can do that, and many counties do. They don't take either the compensating rate or the 4%, but by keeping our rates the same in our real property, we will need to have 2 public hearings. So we're recommending that we keep the Finance Committee is recommending we keep our real property rate at 6.7, personal property at 7.8, distilled spirits at 7.8, aircraft at 7.8, watercraft at 7.8, agriculture products at 4.5, and motor vehicles and watercraft at 6.9, which are all exactly the same rates they were last year. So that's the Finance Committee's recommendation, and then we would need to have 2 public hearings on that rate. And again, it ends up basically generating in the real property $19,000 over what we would generate by taking the compensating rate.
But that's because of the increase in values.
Right.
Increase in value of property,
Right.
that's right. So I second his motion, that's in a motion, right?
Yes.
I second that, to leave everything as is, and we don't have to have no hearings. and
We
whatever.
do have to have 2 hearings by leaving it as it is. You
We
don't have to have a
2
hearing.
hearings.
Yeah, we do have to
If
have
we
2
leave it
public
as
hearings.
is?
Yeah,
We
you
checked
do.
with the Department of
Yeah.
Local Government
Yeah.
to be sure about that.
Do you want to explain the payback potential?
Why don't you explain
Okay.
that? We discussed this also in the Finance
The
Committee.
reason why we're recommending to go through the process is because there is an industry in the city who is appealing their 2018, 2019, 2020 tangible property that they paid. And it looks like we're going to have to pay some of that back. Apparently the schools are going to have to pay somewhere in the range of about $750,000. Ours isn't nearly that much. It's probably going to be around 70,000.
So there's a parallel circumstance.
So we're
for
trying to
schools.
cover part of that so that we don't, and the library's gonna have to pay back probably Conservation District. So ours is much smaller, but we do need to adjust for that if we do have to pay it back. Which is why we are recommending to keep it the same, because we want to try to make up some of that we may have to pay back. We're just waiting for the state to let us know what we have to do.
Yeah, and so if we keep by keeping our property tax rate the same at 6.7, it's obviously per 100,000, and it's 100 per 100,000.
Yeah.
And so for a $100,000 appraised home, that property owner currently does and would continue to pay in Boyle County property tax.
So,
Don't look like we'd have to pay, don't look like we'd have to have 2 hearings if we leave everything the
Yeah,
same.
we do.
It
DLG said we did.
what is,
Yeah.
what is,
We never have before, have we, John?
what is, not that I can remember, but what is the process of doing a hearing? What-
Yes.
We just have to, basically just advertise it
Okay.
and have it open to the public, and the public is entitled to come and, tell us why they do
Disagree.
not like that and why they disagree with us keeping the rate the same.
This is kind of hard to understand, but my evaluation, if it's correct, would be those homes that were just reassessed would be getting an increase
Yes.
for the next year because they had a $100,000 house, now it's 112.
Right.
But if my house was not assessed this go-around, and it was not, then I would not have an increase, so it won't hit every taxpayer,
Correct.
and every homeowner. That's the
Correct.
only logic that I can understand.
Yeah, because it effectively is a percentage increase by not taking the compensating rate, but it's a very small percentage increase, and that's part of why you need to have the hearing.
The hearing.
In
It's not
preparation
4%, but it's,
So we have the hearing in this room?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
I would think it would have to be virtual or something, because the public is gonna have the opportunity, they're gonna have, I would think we'd have to have it in a large venue, just in case people showed up. Because,
If you're able to do it
yeah,
with COVID, you know.
On that note, I keep wondering if we can use, while COVID issues are spiking like they are, if we can use the room, the community room, or whatever it's called, out at the Boyle County
yeah.
Fire, or that's really a nice space and a
Or the
nice
extension
room.
office.
Yeah.
And, it's, I think, plenty large enough, and that would be a good space to have the hearing.
What's the timeline? With how?
This will have to move pretty quickly, and Julie and I are gonna confirm the time frame and the time that has to be between the hearings, but we need this in by early September.
September 3rd is the deadline.
So time is of the essence.
Yeah.
So we have 2 weeks.
Is there a certain number of days between the hearings?
That's
It
what
has
I'm
to
not-
That's what we're working to confirm as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris could probably tell us.
So that's where we stand at this point in time.
It's interesting that you have to have 2 and not just one would suffice to.
Right. Any other questions or discussions? But otherwise, that's our recommendation, and that's the motion to.
The motion been made and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise.
Aye.
This motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Jamie. Next, we'll turn it over to our county administrator, Ms. Julie Wagner.
All right, just some small things. I need to know for the city, who all is planning to attend the symposium out at the extension office on August 31st? Is there anybody here that's not attending?
What is the time frame again?
It starts at 9 a.m. and it looks like it runs through probably around 2 or 2:30. You'll be out of town, won't you?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
so, yeah.
I'll be out of town.
So will everybody else be available to
I'm gonna try to
attend?
make some of it. We
That's
have
good.
our opening
Okay.
staff meeting.
Okay.
What, it's
I'll
on,
let you
the-
get on that one.
Yeah, and I've got a flyer here if anybody
Jason.
has not received
You're
it.
unemployed now, you got plenty of time.
You got a few more days, then I'll be off the hook. Right now, I gotta make sure.
The other
everyone's
thing
moving.
is, and we're probably gonna have to table this, I had really hoped to go ahead and get on the calendar some kind of a holiday gathering. But with COVID the way it is, I feel like we probably need to table that, give us a month or two and see. If it's trending the way it is, we probably won't be able to have a gathering by December. So, with your permission, I'd like to just table that for a couple of weeks and see what
I don't see any problem. Anybody have any qualms with that?
Hopefully this thing's gonna turn around.
The only
Okay.
other thing I have is that Jackie and I will be in Louisville for the next 3 days, attending the governor's local issue conference, so I don't know how many of you are
Oh,
going.
who else is going? John's, you're going? You're going? Are you going?
I won't be able to make it this time of year.
Okay.
Bill, you're going.
No. Represent us well up there.
And I'm
Okay.
not going, I'm gonna be out of town.
I am too. Getting back to this, dear Lynn, on 31st, it's 9 o'clock at the Boyle County Extension office out on Corporate Drive.
City's done a great job. It looks very, very educational.
Do we have an idea, oh, I'm sorry, Phil, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
On the holiday gathering, can we have a plan B? If we're not able to have it, that way we can kind of maybe do something where we get
Okay.
lunch or something like
Yeah.
that for the staff.
Well,
I think
good
we should-
idea, especially for EMS and jail
Yeah, I
and
think we
public
really just
works.
need to continue.
Okay, I'll work
Yeah,
up some
something like
suggestions
that. We're-
and get them to you.
Okay. And you have no idea how long this is gonna last on 31st, do we? It
Till
starts,
2 o'clock.
2:30. I'd say budget 2:30, it might end by 2.
yeah.
So,
Refreshments, lunch will not be served, I assume?
I think it is gonna be served.
It doesn't say.
More importantly, coffee should be there.
I believe.
Got coffee, yeah.
At the end, it says refreshments and lunch will be.
Yeah, I think the city's covering
More
lunch.
of that heavy shirt, the coat.
Yeah. All right,
Okay, moving right along.
are you cold?
69, I'm not. I hear Ronnie over there.
Are you
You
cold?
cold?
Shannon?
Why you so angry?
That might be the reason.
Compensatory time agreements with Shannon.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Have a motion made and seconded to approve them.
Second.
Vote, oh,
All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, Jackie, where Jackie go? Jackie, you're up.
We got you,
We've
We
Sheriff.
got you, you're done.
It's already been approved.
Thank you, thanks for coming, though.
Yeah.
Just wave.
Financial reports by
Okay.
Ms. Richardson.
I just wanted to give you all an update on where we're at. We have closed out the month of April and the month of May in KVS. We have initiated the $2.9 million transfer of the Arpa Funds for the American Rescue Plan. We spoke to the auditors yesterday on some issues. We've been in contact with them to make sure we are doing things in the right process. And we just conducted our first joint jail financial meeting last week, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, you're taking hold of it pretty well, and with Julie's assistance and so on, we appreciate it. Are we, I should know, my last question anyway, have we already started advertising? I haven't seen anything in the paper.
We're gonna discuss that on number 9. Next.
Okay,
Moving
job
right along.
description. Okay, personnel committee, rather short.
We had a committee meeting, was it last week? And, the treasurer's job description is in the back of your packets, that, we want everybody to go over and read. But the, COVID pay, action needed on that. And our committee report is in closed session pursuant to the Kentucky Open Meeting Act and authorized for discussion for that might lead to the appointment, dismissal, or discipline of an individual employee. So that was our committee report. Do I need to tell you who was in the committee? Okay.
We are gonna go into closed session at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So on the COVID paid, we need, action on that.
And
Yes.
Before we move from Ronnie's, would a recommendation on the job description fit now, or when we go into closed session? I would like to move that under the qualifications on the back page, the first page, and I have great sentiment for that, but, a resident of Boyle County for at least 2 years. That really limits our scope of where we would go with the search. I've moved that we remove the 2-year residency.
Second that.
Hang on a minute, Tom, I'm not with you. Where do you,
It's the back page of the first page of the job description.
Got it circled there.
yeah, okay. Must be a citizen of Kentucky and a resident of Boyle County for at least 2 years prior to being appointed. Must be bondable, valid driver's license is required.
The only thing I would remove is the 2-year requirement.
What would your verbiage be?
Must be a citizen of Kentucky and a resident of Boyle County, period.
well, that, are you saying if we were to hire somebody from out of county, they have to agree to move here? Is that what you're,
I would, yes.
you know,
This is such an important position.
I would have to agree to that, I mean,
yeah. If you leave the 2 years in there, you're really limiting the pool of people to choose from if they have to have lived here for 2 years. You might as well not.
Well, that's where I also, if, I guess I'm wondering if that's because of that being a qualification. I think do we also want to limit ourselves to being the state of Kentucky? I mean, yeah, if they get the job, they're
Yeah,
gonna
they have
move
to
here
move.
and be here, but are we saying we're not looking outside of Kentucky at all?
Right.
Could you put the word become?
Could be a
Must
former
agree
citizen
to-
of
yeah.
Boyle County that's living somewhere else
Yeah.
that wants to come back.
Okay.
yeah, we'll have to vote on that.
Looked like it, would be stated somehow that, you've gotta live within, the county or state of Kentucky in order to be employed.
Yeah, I think once you
Must be-
once you get
What
hired,
you're saying,
Must
yeah,
be or
once you get
become.
hired, yeah.
Must be or become a citizen of Boyle County, Kentucky.
Julie,
I would
that's-
make a motion that the wording be, must be or become a citizen of Boyle County, Kentucky.
Okay, sounds good.
Prior
Very simple.
to be, oh, no, take out prior.
And the rest of it's going.
All right. Do I have a
After
second?
appointment?
Did I get a second to it?
Well,
So we'll say selected candidate must be or become a citizen of Boyle County, Kentucky.
what's the time frame they have to become a citizen of Boyle County? Within,
Well, I like your upon appointment. I'll amend my. I'll
well,
amend-
you gotta give them a little bit of leeway though, cause,
Well, we can do that.
if we appoint them,
We can do that.
then.
you gotta
know,
get
that-
relocated.
Huh?
They've gotta get relocated, have
They
time
gotta
to
get relocated,
relocate.
they gotta find a house, or a place to live. So within 6 months?
Oh, within 30
Okay, you want to restate your motion, please?
Julie, read me what I have so far.
Selected candidate must be or become a citizen of Boyle County, Kentucky upon appointment, is what I
Within
wrote.
60 days, rather than upon
Okay.
appointment.
Give them 6 months. Housing
I
market
think
can
a
be
little
terrible.
longer maybe, I'm with Jason, give them a little bit, because you figure 30 days, that if you bought a house, it'd take you 30 days to close it potentially, maybe longer. And then you gotta move, you gotta think about when school is in set, there's a lot of things to put together to make a significant.
What's a good time frame, John?
What about 90 days? You thinking 90 days, be fine?
I think 6 months, and hopefully it can be shorter, but
I'd hate to have them commuting from
Well, only thing it is right now, it's hard to find property in this,
Well,
around here.
it's a high
And it
price
might not be
market
something
right
that
now,
they wanna
so,
buy,
You
so.
know, the market is tough, there's a shortage. of-
They have to sell their property,
They
they
have
have
to-
to
yeah,
buy
there's a-
property here.
I amended to 6 months. Read the motion, please, Julie.
Selected candidate must be or become a citizen of Boyle County, Kentucky within 6 months of appointment.
Thank you. That's my
Do I have a
motion.
second?
Second.
Motion been made and second, and I am not gonna ask Julie to reread the motion because I think
Yeah, we
everybody
got it.
understands what it is. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise.
Thank
Motion
you,
carries.
Julie.
Read
Thank
all.
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
The COVID
Moving right
executive
along.
order.
I'm glad we don't have anything really important to discuss. It'd take us all day.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes, yes.
We're flying.
You might give the history
Yeah,
of
what is that for?
Of the COVID executive
Yeah,
order?
just so
Okay.
everybody understands what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Okay, moving right along. How we doing?
Okay, we're on the COVID executive order. Yeah. That's this.
Is this my copy or is what?
Yep.
we-
That's your copy.
So we out of session now?
No, we're doing the COVID executive order, and then we gotta give committee report.
Yeah. So the COVID executive order is reinstating the executive order that the judge adopted in 2020. Then you renewed it, I believe, in January, and it ran through June. This is the third executive order to provide no more than 10 work days or 2 weeks of COVID pay for illness, exposure, children, family situations to deal with COVID. So our
This is
employees,
basically the same.
Same
one
thing.
We've been working with.
yes.
Okay, I need a motion to this effect.
I'll make that motion.
John,
Second.
I'm gonna put this in there and then pass it around for everybody to sign, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we have to reinstate this. I hope we don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Who seconded that motion?
I did.
Call for the question.
Motion been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. I'm passing this around for everybody to sign,
While
okay?
it's being passed around, can we talk about one other item?
Yes, sir.
I think given what's happening in our community, we really probably need to go back to some,
Virtual.
well, not necessarily virtual, but I think we need to have the judge look at making some rules around the courthouse, with, as far as masks, social distancing. I mean, Ephraim McDowell lost 8 people in one day due to COVID.
Over the
Made
weekend.
the Lexington News.
Yes, this one ain't going away unless we start getting some vaccinations and,
Yeah.
and start doing other things. So I think that, you know, the city kind of, you know, took a stance last night. I think we need to do the same to, if nothing else, for the health of our staff and employees.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
I think
at that
we-
point, friends.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate you bringing that up. I do think that, last meeting, we talked about the resolution encouraging everyone to get their vaccine. I think we obviously need to double down on that encouragement. And, we need to go back to the mask wearing standard within the courthouse and any other county buildings inside in
We-
particular.
Yeah, and we may want to look to start having updates every court session from Brent as well. As far as where they're doing vaccines, because we had a lot of good momentum about doing vaccines, pop-up vaccines, whatever. I haven't seen anything yet. And so that's, in 2 weeks, that's a lot of people that could have been vaccinated. And not saying they're not doing anything, because that's a small department that's been doing a great job, but I think we really need to offer people vaccination
I
wherever
can
they can.
answer that a little bit. I'm not myself, vaccines are being provided free at CVS, First Care, and Ephraim McDowell Walk-In Clinic are vaccine centers.
What about
And the
the,
health department.
And the health
what
department.
about the booster? When can we get the booster?
Yeah, that's,
It's not out yet.
it should be, it's being recommended at 8 months post being fully vaccinated, so.
Well, do you remember what Brent said when he was in here about people that's had the shot? 35% of the people that's had the shot in our county has contracted the virus.
Yeah, I know too. Jason made the comment about 8 deaths, and it was stated that 95% of them had not been vaccinated.
Yeah, the vaccine definitely lessens your symptoms and the consequences. There are gonna be breakthrough cases and there are gonna be bad results for even vaccinated, but it right now is our best defense.
I think something needs to be added that unfortunately, it's not spoken about very much, but if you think you've come in contact, be tested.
Yes.
It's still important to be tested if you think you have been around somebody that comes down with it. It's important to know what your condition is.
Right.
So don't forget about getting tested, and those are out there also.
Right.
I agree.
Vaccinated people can definitely be carriers and can continue to spread the virus.
I agree with Jason on the rules around the courthouse. I think it surely to goodness, everybody wear a mask. Like the bailiffs, and it should be a rule. I'm running onto a county employee this morning. He didn't have a mask on in here, and he said, well, it's not mandatory, we have to have one on.
It will be.
Yeah, I think it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your governor's gonna make it.
Well, I think we can actually act right now
Right.
and reimpose what General Hunt had imposed prior to the first wave or second or whatever wave we're through. But I don't know how you want to act on that, if we want to wait for him to come back or if we just want to go ahead and make this move now. But I think it needs to be, anything we wait on, it's just going to get worse.
I'll make the motion that we make mask wearing mandatory
made us good,
in all
didn't
county government buildings.
I'll second it.
Okay, does everybody understand the motion?
No, tell me, say it again.
Mandatory mask wearing inside all county
And so,
buildings.
can we encourage social distancing too? Because that's,
Yes.
any health department protocols, social
Right.
distancing, mask wearing, but mask wearing's, wash your hands.
Julie, was
Okay.
that the way it was last?
Yeah.
Mandatory that masks be worn. Council, we just got a motion on the floor that, it be mandatory that you have a mask on in any, county buildings, inside the building.
With the exception being that when you're all in your office alone.
Yes.
We may want to also, what was it, accept, based on religious or health, was it?
Yeah,
Or, Julie?
that's what the city did. And it's reviewed by the HR director on a case-by-case basis for an exemption.
Yes.
Wouldn't you think it'd be best to let our governor make this decision?
Our governor's not gonna make the decision since he was bound by, or,
Well, he has made some decision that hadn't been revoked, but
I don't,
I think he's made one of the most recent thing that got overturned on Friday is, he's got this certain emergency power, and whether, it's extended, past 60 days or can go further than that, and I think the Supreme Court said no, and you overexerted yourself, and so now they have to go to court. Daniel Cameron, I guess, can sue to decide whether or not his powers will extend past that amount of time or not. So I doubt that he'll probably do like executive orders like masking stuff at this point.
That's where I think we can do it on our own.
I think we can too, and I have a motion on the floor in a second that all masks be worn in county, inside county buildings, except if you're in your private office and so on, you don't have to wear your mask. All in favor, say aye.
Discussion, discussion.
Okay, discussion before we get a
It's
vote.
very timely that our council came in, because not only has this been struck down by Kentucky Supreme Court off the governor's action, but last night on KET, it was a discussion, and they were polling some of the leaders in Frankfurt. And I really think that, Counselor, it's awful time you're in here, because I really think that we're setting ourselves up for litigation with a mandate based on the immediate past history and the Supreme Court decision. Secondly, I believe in the liberties that have been won in this nation, and I'm just very reluctant to do a mandate. The strongest level of encouragement, yes. At my age, absolutely, I'll have the mask on. But I really think that we're treading on legal ground here, where we will be struck down and we'll be spending taxpayer money defending it. I think we ought to table this until we do some legal research.
I'd like to say the reason that it was struck down was because the governor went past the
It was more than that. It was
he went past the legislative body. That was the whole thing. He ignored the legislative body. Guess who's the legislative body in this county, Tom? It's us. So the judge is not mandating this, past us. We're discussing it. I completely understand. I started wearing my mask again. I hate it. But the way how contagious this is and how easily it spreads, you don't know you have it. You don't know, especially if you're vaccinated, you don't know that you have it a lot of times, and you're passing it around. So, believe me, I love our liberties, but we're going to see a lot more friends pass away, and we're responsible.
I know that, like,
I don't agree with that. We're not responsible if somebody passes away. That's left up to good old Lord, if they're gonna make it or not.
Well, I think
Lord gives us
go
our
over.
opportunities for
So,
choices. We follow.
Depends where you face that.
Understand?
In a way, though, Ronnie, you're elected to represent your district and try to advise and help them in any way you can. That's the way I look at it.
Well, the way I look at it, I think if they wanna wear a mask, it's their prerogative to wear a mask or not. Whether you make a mandate, most of the people that works in here, they're gonna wear a mask, you know that. So we're gonna mandate it, try to mandate it that they have to when they're going to anyway.
How about this? Can we mandate it for 30 days and then come back and visit again in 30 days? That way it's just not out there. And
We'll see Keiko people this afternoon, tomorrow, and the next day, still Friday. And I think that this is an Ornstein kind of a discussion. I just really think we're setting ourselves up for litigation.
We can ask them if we need to rescind it, we can. But if people were doing everything that they should be doing, we wouldn't see a resurgence like this right now. So,
I know the Supreme Court issued an order here recently, and it gave the chief judge, just like Judge Pepper, who's the chief judge, the authority as far as control of the courtrooms, which would be district, the courtroom, as far as whether he feels that you should be mandated to wear masks or not. And, I haven't heard where Judge Peckler has mandated or not. And I think that recently, maybe last week, Judge Dotson made people wear masks into his courtroom. But I don't know that Peckler's come out and said
Okay.
you must wear masks.
Are you amending the motion for 30 days, or what?
well, it's not my motion. Well, hold on.
He made the motion.
You made the motion.
I did.
Do you want to put a time frame on it? I mean, it's up to you.
I think we can rescind it when it's appropriate, at whatever time frame that is, and hopefully it won't take 30 days. But I guess I still go back to a comment I made last meeting, that one of the number one roles of government is to protect the health and safety of its citizens. And this is a role of government, is to protect the health and safety of its citizens. We're in a worldwide pandemic right now. And while, yes, I believe in the sovereignty of God, as Ronnie stated, I also believe in the fact that we can and should do everything we can to prevent illness and death when God has provided us the tools and the knowledge to do that. And so that's where I come down on this, and it's up to us to help protect our citizens. And again, you are wearing your mask to take care of your neighbor as much, if not more, than to take care of yourself. And so I would encourage everybody to wear their mask, because like I tell my kids at center, when I wear gloves, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm like, well, you don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my gloves to protect you from me just as much as I'm wearing my mask to protect you from me.
Yes, sir.
The logic of this argument would be that the more appropriate mandate would be to mandate you can't come in this building without being vaccinated. I don't think that we want to start a domino effect of mandates when the initial one that would work the best is not going to work in any state of this United States. Again, I go back to the liberties that were fought for, and just believe that the word mandate has a terrible effect psychologically on the public. We already have on the newspaper today a huge article about the pushback from the school systems to mandate masks in the schools. And we absolutely have an obligation to encourage at the highest level. I've been beaten up by making the motion last week. I think that our best course of action to avoid litigation is to encourage, as we have, vaccines and mask wearing. But to mandate, I simply explain my vote as I just did.
Okay.
We mandate that people wear seatbelts. We mandate that people don't smoke inside. We mandate, I wish we would mandate that people wear helmets. I've been disappointed ever since we didn't mandate that people don't wear helmets in Kentucky, but we should mandate that people wear helmets when they're riding bikes and motorcycles, for that matter. So we mandate safety issues all the time, health and safety issues, so
And
that's...
why not add to the motion, which I would not do, a mandate that they can't come in without a vaccination?
Well, that's a different, I have a motion. I'm gonna call for the
Settle
question.
the discussion, please.
Yes, sir.
I don't disagree with you, but we haven't talked enforcement. Does that not need to be a part of this discussion?
I know,
Who
and that's where...
enforces it, how we enforce it, and I don't have the answer, Jamie, but I think it needs to be determined.
Yeah, and I agree, and I don't think there is a good way to enforce it. We have this discussion at center all the time. You know, the majority of our employees, students, have done a really good job of wearing their mask when they're mandated. We still have some that do not, and you know, it is enforced in the classroom, but in just passing through a building, it's not really enforced. But I think by having the mandate, it does encourage that 95% of the people that are going to do the right thing.
You're also talking, you know, at a minimum, center is 80% vaccinated. We don't have those kind of numbers. I mean, staff is 81, faculty I think is 93, and I think students were 91 if I remember the numbers.
Yeah, I was
So
going
we
to
don't
share
have those
those.
kind of
Yeah,
numbers.
students are 93% vaccinated. Faculty is 96%, and staff is 81%. So the combined employee number is 86% of all employees at center are vaccinated.
And you're still wearing, I mean, we're not saying county-wide you have to have a mask on. All we're saying is that when you come into the buildings, just put a mask on, you know, and we're not taking temperatures again. We're just asking people when you come into government buildings, whether you're employee or not, wear a mask.
Okay.
You know, I can, yeah. Anyway.
Well, you know, it's kind of confusing to me. They said at first if you take this shot, you don't have to wear a mask. Now you got 91% at Center Colleges got to take the shot, and they all mandating to wear a mask. It just don't make sense.
Well, because it's
You can
I like
still
to
get-
say the one constant in all of this is change. So that's the only
So
constant.
how you spread it in Center College when you got 91% of people done got the shot?
because the Delta variant does still, it still infects and can impact those that have been vaccinated, and you can still
Okay.
transmit the virus if you've been
That
vaccinated.
ain't what they said at first, Jamie.
I know, it's a very
So
new
it's
virus.
like this, you know,
and
you
we're
do
learning-
one thing, then want you to do something else.
And we're learning more, as time goes, we get more data and more information. And so it's an evolving, science as far as we're learning this.
How much of it can you believe?
Well, we've got
They backtrack themselves so much, it's hard
you've gotta
to, it's
believe
hard
the
to know what
science.
to believe.
Well, follow the
What science?
Follow the science.
Oh, God. Let's go.
Okay,
And so-
I think we've
It's
had enough
ridiculous.
discussion
I want
on
to,
it.
the other key, because I do want to, I think this is a good conversation, and I don't want to keep us going here, but I do think it's important to recognize that a virus is looking for a host, and the more vaccinated people we can get, the less opportunity the virus has to spread and mutate. And the virus is going to change when it can find new hosts. And so that's the other reason why it's so important that we get as many people vaccinated as we can. That is our best defense, because otherwise the virus is going to keep finding hosts. And that's one of the reasons we've gotten our older population more vaccinated, thankfully, but now that's one of the reasons why it's attacking the younger population, because it's mutating and looking for better hosts. The viruses are smart, and so this truly is a war against this virus, and it's important that we all grasp and understand that.
I
Thank
have
you.
one,
Okay.
I have another question. When we had this before, did solid waste, did those employees wear their mask at solid waste?
I think if they're outside, they don't, I mean, this is an indoor, is what we're talking, right?
I know it, but solid waste is indoors. Those people.
I
are
think they
working
did
inside.
when they was inside.
I don't know how difficult it is to do what they do inside that building. I have no idea about that.
It's no different, people working in factories and everything else.
And I think back to enforcement, I think it goes to the department heads are the ones that are the ones to.
Well, I think you can ask, employees, it's mandatory that you do wear a mask, the way I'd handle it. You need to get it on. I don't think anybody's gonna put up any fight. We have a motion on the floor and a second. I'm gonna call for the vote.
Sounds good.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed likewise.
No.
Motion carried. 42? Thank you. Julie, did you get that? Okay, thank you all. Now we're going to move on to committee reports. I'll start around the room with Magistrate Kaywood.
I don't have a committee report now. We're gonna come back for
We're going to come back
comments.
with the others, yes.
Okay, I don't have a committee report, sir.
Or would you rather prefer doing that first for the committee reports?
It doesn't matter, you're the chair.
Okay, I prefer doing it this way. Magistrate Cullen, do you have any?
Yes,
Committee report.
I'll give our sheriff's one from this morning. Ooh, that's not it. So Sheriff's Committee met this morning. Present were myself, Magistrate Kaywood, and Sheriff Robbins. Right now they have 2 people out with COVID. They are part of the court security. Speaking of court security, Sheriff is in need of court security, having trouble getting employees due to low pay scale. We discussed the body cams. Sheriff extremely happy with them. He's able to look back and if there's complaints, he can actually get up and, the unbiased version of what actually has happened. So it's helping keep officers accountable, but also those that are being stopped by our deputies. Kind of brought it up a little earlier. We seem to have an issue where people are being arrested and let go by the courts. And then we also, I made a question again about trying to figure out how to slow traffic down various roads, but I get a lot of complaints on Goggin about how fast they go. And then we dismissed around 8:45. I'll submit that to the board.
Second.
You second it?
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
That's it for committees.
Okay, Mr. Gay, or Magistrate
The
Gay.
Finance Committee met on 8/13, and present was Julie, Jackie, Magistrate Sammons, and myself, and we discussed the tax rates, which we've already addressed today, and we made that recommendation to keep the rates all the same. We also discussed our Arpa funds and placing those in Jackie, or what is that total number?
The total for this time is 2.9.
2.9, thank you.
Million?
Yes. So we currently are placing those in a farmer's bank account that's our federal funding account, and we're still in the process of working with some local banks to get those moved over into an interest-bearing account. So we needed to get those placed at this point in time, and so we're basically somewhat just in a holding pattern until we can get a bank, we can get an agreement with the bank to get that in an interest-bearing account. So that's where that stands.
Kind of nice to spread some of that money out amongst other, like several banks. I mean, we're looking for the best rate, but
Right.
it'd be nice to go.
We discussed that about doing, making sure we
What rate you getting on that?
give business to other banks.
Yeah.
What we're sending out proposals.
Not
Get
good, is it?
proposals.
Okay, I second that motion. All in favor say aye.
We also, just real quick, I did want to, we did
Real quick.
discuss the other thing that Julie talked about earlier with the possible needing to refund that one account that the state is working with to,
Entity.
yeah, that one entity. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that's the motion and second.
Aye.
Motion's already been passed, so we'll move right along.
All right.
Okay, Magistrate Short.
Yeah, we had a solid waste committee meeting Monday, and present was myself, Phil Sammons, and Angie. We discussed the leader abatement grant, which we passed today. Also talked about how much money we've received this year, $84,000. She showed you the billboard that she getting ready to put up, and a little jangle, whatever.
Jangle's about right.
And we discussed the budget or about it getting a vehicle for her, and so that's in the process of doing that. And household waste event this Saturday, going on this week, and hometown radio's going to be there, furnishing hamburgers and hot dogs. So everybody attend. I'll be out of town.
I second this motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Move right along.
No report?
No report. I'll give the Humane Society Committee met, which consists of Magistrate Short and myself. We were,
Just need you to sign it.
oh, okay, thank you. We learned that they've been real active during the month of July. They took in about 40 dogs. 13 of them was adopted out, and the remainder was sent back home. The Humane Society helped place 177 animals in new homes. They reunited 66 lost pets with their owners. I thought that was pretty impressive. And they provided a low, no-cost spay and neuter surgery to 721 animals. You think of that?
Been busy.
We met at 11 and adjourned at 11:35. I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second
this.
it.
Motion been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you. Now then, we'll go back to others. John, did you have something else to discuss?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. First one, we had, had David Leonard, who is a person who works at Center, and came and presented a tree pruning lecture and skill and how to do it. And we had at Constitution Square, and and we had 3 or 4, Wayne had 3 or 4 folks there out of our department. I was real proud we had that many, because it's important that we continue to keep the trees over Constitution Square looking good and healthy, and when somebody comes and can educate us how to do that a little bit more, I'm glad our folks show up, so I appreciate that. The other thing that I wanted to have a discussion on, and I need y'all's input, I'm a little bit old school about this, but someone said to me at church Sunday, they said, I came into the office, knocked, and the door was open, I came in, and there wasn't anybody there. And that bothered me, only I understand that because we have people who can't be here. We have one who's expecting, we have some at meetings, we have issues that take people out. I understand that. However, I do feel like we need somebody here to answer phones and greet and say hello to people. And I thought, I'm gonna see if there's any magistrates who are willing that in emergency type situations where there's nobody in the office and it just happens that way. If we're willing to chip in, if called upon, if we're willing to chip in, we can't do much, but at least we can answer a phone and say hello to a citizen. And at least if somebody walked in, we could say, I'll have the judge call you, I'll take a note, just somebody in the office. Is that important to you all, or is it just, I misread it? And too
I agree with
old-fashioned?
you, I agree with you 100%. It's very important to me, and I'll be happy to volunteer my time, and I think it'd be good if we could split it up, say, 2 or 3 hours each, and on the time that.
Somebody's gonna have to let us know when we're needed.
Yes.
But is it important to us? And I'll do the same. I'll be kinda on the list. If you need somebody, give me a buzz but I just think it's important to say somebody who walks in and not to an empty office, which from a security point of view is not real good, but that's our folks out there and they have expectations. And that expectation is that somebody's in the office to say hello. You all are welcome, and I welcome
Well,
you all
I
to
agree
jump
with
in
you.
there.
It'd be hard to do.
It might have been one of those, I mean, I agree with you, but it might have been one of those one-offs where someone was at lunch and someone had to use the bathroom.
Yeah, could have figured
Yeah.
That's different. I understand that, but we're talking about somebody over a period of time.
John's talking about, like from 8:30 to 4, I assume, during the day when nobody's there.
I just hate to see a citizen come into our office and nobody's there, and what goes through their mind, like, where is everybody? They don't understand what everybody's doing and what goes through, but it's the appearance and the expectation that I have a little concern about.
Or you just kinda have a rule set up that.
I don't like the way
Somebody's.
I agree with you, and I don't like the way they got the new phone set up. When you're like, I'm trying to get in the judge's office, and you go through this, if you want so-and-so, if you want the sheriff, you push such, if you want the county attorney, you do this. Hello, Pete, I know their damn numbers. If I want the number, I'll call him without having to push a button.
You can go through without pushing a button. Just gotta get their passcode to their office. Dial it in.
Should be, when I dial 1100, it should ring into the judge's
It's
office.
just this new system.
And somebody should answer it.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Right now, Julie's not one of the ones mentioned, not necessarily by name, but by office. And so you don't get directly to Julie.
She planned it that way.
Unless you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
something.
I think there is a
She paid good
county
money to not
administrator
have that on
problem.
there.
There is a problem.
Okay,
I would
we're,
do I would
Magistrate
listen to
Kay, would you have
the-
anything
I
else?
think
No,
there
sir.
is.
That's a good
I'll
point.
talk
The
to
Magistrate, Cullen, do you have anything?
I do. I wanted to give a quick shout out to our volunteer fire department, and what a great job that they do. I tend to, especially in my neck of the woods, I head out to a lot of the calls. they're nice enough to add me to their list, and so I get little messages when there's things, and there was a horrible thing that happened out at North Point. And I was out there and witnessed, you know, what these volunteers do. And they're put in all kinds of situations, and that one was a tough one. And they handled it really well. And you know, they at a drop of a dime, when they get that call, they leave their families, they leave whatever they're doing to go be a true service to this community. And so I appreciate what Boyle County Fire Department does for this community, as well as all first responders. But I think since they don't directly report to us, we often forget that they're out there and all the things that they do. So that's all I had.
I agree with you. You know, we really don't appreciate them until we need them. And same thing about our EMS, you know, they're there and they need to know that they've got our back 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So
They have ours.
they have ours. Okay. Jamie, do you have something?
Yeah, I would just, a couple of things, ask that we do, I would hope we can look for a temporary alternative place to possibly meet that's large enough for us to keep our mask on and distance, and have the public join us with their mask on, and return to our meetings, and we can keep meeting in person and that type of thing. So I hope we'll look and seek out some locations, and hopefully it'll be a very temporary thing. Then also wanted to say that hopefully everybody's noticed that one of our major economic engines in Center College is coming back to life, and we're expecting the vast majority of our students back on campus this year and functioning much more normally. And so, and actually tomorrow is move-in day for a very large first-year class of approximately 400 new students coming to town and campus and bringing their families with them. So we should see a lot of activity going on in the next several days. And we do have we're not wearing masks outdoors this year, but we are wearing masks indoors on campus. And so, again, we're very pleased with our vaccination rates. And now that the Pfizer vaccine has been taken off of emergency use authorization and is fully FDA approved, all of our students are now required to be vaccinated unless they have a medical or religious exemption, and those are pretty hard to come by.
Thank you. Ronnie, do you have anything?
No.
Tom?
The only thing I have would be when we adjourn, Mr. Chairman, if you would recognize all of our troops, but be specific to what's going on right now in the Middle East, and those heroic men and women who are helping to evacuate thousands of Americans and thousands of others who helped us over the past 20 years.
Thank you. Counselor, I didn't save you for last. Do you have anything?
I don't have anything really. I just want to let you know that since you passed this mask mandate, I've texted all the players and Trilly and Courtney Shoemaker and Christian Gibson, let them know to advise their staff of that. And I've also texted Derek Robbins to let him know that his bailiffs can enforce that. People walking through the
Thank you.
I
Thank
spread
you.
the message.
Thank you.
Thank you. Julie?
We just need to adjourn in executive session.
Oh,
That's all I
okay.
have.
We need to,
On your agenda.
I'll make the motion that we go into a closed session pursuant to Kentucky Open Meetings Act. Exceptions are authorized for discussions that might lead to appointment, dismissal, or discipline of an individual employee. KRS 61.8101F.
Second.
thank you. Motion been made and second. We're going to executive session. We
I just
on?
texted him.
We'll come back out of, need a motion to come out of.
I make a motion, we come out of closed session.
Let's make sure we're on first.
We're on, okay.
We'll
Second,
Make sure he's, okay.
I'll
all in
second
favor,
that
say
motion.
aye.
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 Okay, we're back in regular session with no action taken. Getting back to masking and so on, don't you think we need we did have a sign on the door, I'm not sure it's still there. Have a mask on before you enter this building?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to re-sign the doors.
And there's
Can you do
no
that?
sanitizer at this door, I don't know about that door.
Okay. I think we need them at all entrances. Okay, right,
Correct, yes, sir. Agreed.
okay.
Well, and our medical resident over here.
Don't forget, have you heard lately about the judge? Is the judge, going to end up in the hospital or how?
I don't think so,
Don't think he's that bad?
no.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Well, with
Before we adjourn, you have a question, you have a question?
your thoughts about what's going on in the Middle East and our troops.
And the tour at VCTC today.
Tour at BCTC
Oh,
today.
don't forget, yeah, don't forget the tour out at,
What time is that?
12 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't know, are they serving lunch?
So, I think I heard that, yeah.
Somewhere I heard.
John, you going? I don't know,
Serving
get-
lunch, you going?
Well, I mean, I hate being a crowd.
My thought is adjourning to honor and be grateful to our troops in the Middle East as the evacuation takes place.
Absolutely.
Good point. We'll adjourn in that, and we'll also adjourn in prayers and wishes that our judge has a speedy recovery.
And your
Amen.
staff, yeah.
Okay?
Amen.
Okay, motion has been made. Who made that motion? And second? All in favor, get up, get out of here.
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
The stand,
All right,
is that a
I
standing
gotta go.
show?